Well, welcome to May, right? We're in May. How exciting is that? And our theme for this month is spiritual living through creativity. One of my favorites. They're all one of my favorites, right? And today's topic is creative confidence. Are you confident in your ability to create? Come on, come on. Yes? Well, take a look at what your life looks like. And you did that. Yay. I know. Well, you don't walk into somebody's house that's in the middle of painting when the paint's still drying and go, oh, it looks great. It's in process, okay? We're all in process in our lives, okay? And sometimes it looks a little gamey, and that's okay. That's part of the creative process. And don't leave until the miracle happens, right? There's still something going on here, even in the midst of our challenge. There is a creative genius at work. Even when we are at our lowest and darkest, walking through that valley of the shadow, as it were, there is a light. There is another experience. If you were to take a snapshot there, it might look challenging, but don't build a condo there. Don't pitch a tent there. So how confident are you in your ability to create the life that you really want? Not just a life of getting by, but the life that rocks your world, right? You may be doing better than you think, even in the midst of your challenge. If you can look at some of your triumphs, you did that. It just didn't happen to you. You did that. You set it up, you created it, and you experienced it. As we allow the ongoing activity of Spirit into our hearts, minds, and activity, we begin to bring forth new forms of expression to inspire and guide us into the process of creation. You know, sometimes we have a need, and out of that need, we create something to serve that need. This is how all great creations take washer and dryer, right? Right? Now my mind thinks, you know, I'm always looking for the shortcut, right? I want to create a machine that you put your laundry into and it comes out folded, right? I want to combine the washer and dryer together and the dry cleaning element, you know, so that my shirts come out all ironed and perfect, right? I haven't quite put that together yet, but there is a way to put the washer and dryer together. Somehow that's still in process in my mind, but that's how my mind works. I want to have fun with thinking it through, don't we? Don't we want to, you know, just do something creative, just a little different, just figure something out? That's what our mind is looking to do, looking to figure it out. So we have a new youth curriculum that's brought to you by me and a friend of mine, Chris, who is a specialist in working with children. And we got together and we took this idea of creativity to the next level for our youth. So if we had youth today, which we don't, but, you know, build it and they will come, right? The activity for today, we get to be a youth right now. Imagine that you are the prince or princess of your own land, that you could make anything you want happen. Close your eyes and imagine this land of yours. There are no limits to what you can create. The only requirement for you is that you create something that must bring you joy and happiness. Isn't that cool? I mean, Walt Disney did it, right? Disneyland, right? He created a whole bunch of different lands. What does your land look like? What does your vision of your perfect world look like? because we need to have a vision of something. What would it look like if things were working the way you wanted them to? Can you imagine if you had this teaching when you were in kindergarten and somebody said, you can do whatever you want. Dream it, imagine it. And there are Science of Mind, K through 6 schools. And boy, I'd like to get involved in that. It's on my radar. It's on my creativity chart. So, being creative is not about being talented. Being creative is what we are. We are all born as a creation and imbued with the power to create something in our lives. You can't not be creative. It's like if I ask you to stop thinking right now, just stop thinking about anything. You can't do it. Your mind is thinking about not thinking about thinking. Wow. So you might as well put something positive into it to move in that direction if you want positive results. It's just like a computer. If you sit at the keyboard and just tap at any keys that come up and press print, what's it going to look like, right? It's going to be exactly what you pressed in. So we need to give it direction. We need to have a word processing program. We need to have a life processing program. And that's what I believe Science of Mind is a life process to live by. So everything we do is created. And if we don't think highly of our creative ability, then we will experience a life that feels the same way. Like we're not good enough. You ever felt that? We're such powerful creators. We create a challenge and then wonder where it came from. Right? Well, who did that? It's like, oh. Once we claim it as ours and stop pointing the finger at that it was their fault, we take our power back. And we go, if I claim this, that I made this mess, I can clean it up. It's when we keep pushing it that it's somebody else's mess, that it stays a mess. But once we claim it as ours and go, claim your mess. Claim your mess. And really claim it and go, look at what I did. Look at what, nobody could do it like I did it. Nobody can mess it up like I can. Look at the pieces of glass that have fallen. They fell inside other cabinets that were closed at the time. How did that even happen? Right? I dropped a bowl, and I used to get so mad at myself. You're so stupid. You start, the committee starts telling you what you did wrong. And then, now that I'm in this teaching, I'm like, if I believe we're all one, then I'm calling the infinite those things. Oh, watch your tongue. And do I want to experience what I'm talking? No. So I'd say, oh, look at the beautiful mess. I'm going to leave that for a little while. Where's my camera? I got to get a picture of the mess I made because nobody could do it like I did it. That's going on Facebook. That's a mess. And then cleaning it up, it's like, wow, I haven't cleaned the floor in a little while, apparently. Wow, maybe this is a chance to clean the whole floor. Wow, look at that. That's why I did that, is that I haven't cleaned the floor in a little while. But if you can look at it differently, God shows up differently for you. It's when we condemn ourselves that the energy of condemnation rushes in and says, yes. The universe is always saying yes. But what are we inviting in? Creativity, love, peace, and joy? Or are we inviting in challenge? How bad can it get? Never ask yourself that. How bad can it get? The infinite always says yes. Let me show you how bad it can get. What is the best that can happen. There is a gem in every challenge, but it's not spontaneously eager to show itself at times. We have to search for it, and we have to be in the consciousness of the solution. If we're not in the consciousness of the solution, we're part of the problem. And that's okay. It happens. If you're in the midst of a challenge, get into it and really be the challenge. I mean, you don't want to look back and go, well, I didn't get it all out of my system. Get it all out of your system so that when you turn towards the light, you are free from your challenge completely. Now, this doesn't say perpetuate your challenge just for the heck of it. So, if you live a life that knows we have the potential to create something great, then we will find new ways every day to express that greatness. Our creative power is that of the infinite. The infinite being that created our bodies and this place we live, the places we can't even see that are going on. We have that same genius within us to create. This is how we come up with these new and grand ideas. But we must be in alignment with the divine for it to be activated through us. We have to be in the wisdom of creation. And we have to believe that we can do it. So our creative power is that of the infinite. Being creative is not about having the fanciest ideas, the most beautiful artistic flair, or even the ability to speak a prayer in a poetic way. Being creative is our nature. As a living individual of the Almighty, we are imbued with the creative possibilities of the divine itself, creating a space where love is welcome, or creating a personal practice of kindness is as simple as knowing this truth and acting like it's absolutely so. Act as though it's already so. When you're in the midst of a challenge, it's not easy to act as though. When you're feeling negative, it's, sometimes you're drawn into that negativity. It takes the consciousness of a saint to go, I'm not going to feel that way anymore. I'm not going to think in that direction anymore. And fake it till you make it, I'm going to feel love right now. It's just, we have to act the part. Maybe find something, a movie or a piece of music, something to prime the pump, as it were. We need something to activate that energy within us, to move us in a particular direction. No longer will we find ourselves saying we can't. Instead, we will be filled with the ever-present, how can I do it? And then we will do whatever we set ourselves to do in our own way as a creative being, because that is exactly who and what we are. And the entire universe conspires for our success when we set forth a clear plan for ourselves. We have to have an action plan. In the Science of Mind textbook on page 410, it says, the thought is a mold. Conviction is a molten substance poured into this mold. One is not complete without the other. And many people make the mistake of using only one of these essential states of consciousness. What is your mold? What is the structure you have given the infinite to pour into your life? In our self-mastery class, we were just talking about this in the first class. When you want ice cubes, you have a tray. And it's a certain size and shape. And if you want round ice cubes, you don't put square tray in the freezer, right? I remember making, juice pops as a kid, you'd get some juice and you pour it into a mold of some sort, a tray or something, and you put little sticks in it. In the morning, we could watch our Saturday morning cartoons, sucking on a fruit pop or something. But it's that simple. What mold, in Science of Mind, we call it the mental equivalent. What mental equivalent are you giving your life? If you're looking to buy a beautiful house, take yourself to a beautiful neighborhood and take a walk and look at beauty. Let it be the mental equivalent that washes over you. What do they even do with 6 chimneys in that house? Think about it, think about the rooms and the hardwood floors and the fireplaces and just the beauty and what does it signify to you? What does it represent in your life? What is it that you want? And act as though you already are experiencing that. That's the magic of it. And we don't have to figure out the how. That's outlining. Well, I know my Aunt Sophie has $1 million, and if she would kick the bucket and give it to me, then, we don't outline and say how that's supposed to happen. We just have to know that it can happen and let the infinite do it. Are we willing to release control of how and just know that we need to be in the consciousness of it? In the Science of Mind textbook, page 33.4, which means paragraph 4, God moves upon God. God moves upon God. This is the starting point of creation. Every time one conceives of an idea, it is God expressing itself. You are God. You're not all that God is. I'm God. No. But yes, each one of us is a cell in the body of God. Each one of us is a part of the infinite. It can be no other way. If you take a thimble out of the ocean, it's still the ocean. It's not the whole ocean, but every attribute of that thimble is ocean-like, right? So, being brave and bold in how we claim our truth plays a huge role in how deeply we believe ourselves in these ideas. When I'm caught in the moment where my faith can be affirmed and I'm responsible to affirm it, at first it may be only to myself and then to those that I trust. However, if I truly believe in my own truth, I should one day arrive at a place of willingness to share it with anyone and everyone. If I'm not willing to reaffirm my truth, my belief is in question. Why not share it? Why do we keep it hidden? We need to express ourselves. We need to create, to be creative. So what's your creation? What is your ministry? All of us are ministers of something. Can you see your life as a ministry? Are you the minister of love? Of music? And you don't have to play an instrument, I can be the musician of playing the stereo, right? I play the stereo. And that's being a musician. Put on Kansas or Toto or whoever you want. Toto, Kansas. Where am I going with this? I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. So if I believe these principles are the cornerstone of my life, why on earth would I hide them or choose not to share them when given the opportunity? Something in me is afraid of openly claiming my truth if I am unwilling to share my truth when provided the opportunity. We need to express. It is something in us is calling us to express. So, our imagination is the greatest creative canvas we have. We're using it all the time. But sometimes we misplace the conscious use of it with the habit of using it. As an example, we may have someone tell us to imagine that what our life would be like if it were perfect. After some trying, we may say, I can't even imagine it. And so we think we can't use our imagination. And then 5 minutes later, we sit and worry and fret about how we're going to pay the bills this month. And suddenly, without realizing, we're using the faculty of our imagination really well. We are able to clearly and vividly imagine what happens if we can't pay the rent, so that we're already feeling like we can't pay the rent, even though the rent isn't even due for another 30 days. How active is our imagination, and is it well placed? Have a teenager that's out past 10 o'clock at night, and your imagination go crazy. Now, I've never had a teenager. I mean, I can just imagine having a teenager out past 10 o'clock at night, and my mind goes crazy. I don't know how parents do it. And now I know why my parents wanted to know where I was past 10 o'clock at night all the time, because they worry, they care. They're not trying to limit me, they're trying to protect me. But sometimes it's a limiting idea. So we use our imagination in the wrong direction. We don't imagine how good it can get, we imagine how bad it could be. And for some of us, we've used that part of our imagination so much that that's what we default to. And I have to tell you, my thinker was broke when I came into this teaching. I was chronically thinking about how bad things could get, and I wondered why my life was so bad. How bad could it get? Let me see. Oh. And then my practitioner said, how good could it get? I'm like, what? What do you mean? Well, what's better than the best? I'm going to have to write this down. What's better than the best? I was like, all of a sudden something triggered in me that opened up this whole faith-based truth thing. That if I was in control of my thinking, my life would change. Now, it takes, like I said, the consciousness of a saint to turn our lives and our thinking around, but we must do it. We must, and it's okay to think wrongly for a little while, just to let it play. But as soon as you catch yourself, build yourself a good positivity filter. Anything that comes in that doesn't work for positivity doesn't get in. Only positiveness. Only positivity. So, changing the use of what we imagine changes the feeling of the future ahead and literally brings about our next greatest yet to be. So we must change the direction of our thinking. So in conclusion, the time for our teaching to be secret is over. This science of mind, religious science, is going everywhere now. And you can see that we're filling this room. It's so good. Be in control of your thinking. Dream the dream that you were put here to dream. And don't just dream it. Don't just be a dreamer. Be an experiencer of your dream. And cross it off your bucket list and get a whole new bucket list because you did everything on that list. And there is no bucket list because if it's not in this lifetime, it's going to happen in the next. But you must know that you can do it. And if you can't, research it, Google it, figure out how to do it, because there is a way. Let us be confident as we find creative ways to express our creative imagination with love. Our life is our commitment to authenticity. Let us give of our creative self without reservation as we express our creativity with confidence. So it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. So let's follow our teaching now and let's go within. Let's do a little prayer. So I invite you to just close your eyes if that works for you, if that's comfortable, or take a soft focus on our candles, or just bring ourselves to center and contemplate what you believe God is to you. Maybe you call it Jesus the Christ, creative source energy, God, divine wisdom. It is yours. And as we imagine it, we become one as it in form. There's not God and us, there is God as us. And as we align ourselves with that creative energy of the universe, creative ideas start to flow. Creative love starts to be our experience. I may not know what you're walking through, but I know that God does. I just invite the energy of solution into that equation. I invite the idea of healing into that energy. There is a connection that has been made now, and a transformation is at hand. You may not see it with your eyes, but something is happening. So I claim the peace and the revealing of truth, however that looks. I claim the love and the divine right action happening in every situation, no matter what it looks like. I say a word of blessing upon anyone, anywhere who has ever asked for prayer, be it written or verbal or typed. Perhaps in the subconscious regions of our mind just said, help me. I know that that love is right there and now active and doing whatever is needed in that moment to provide the exact experience that is needed for the ultimate in the healing experience. So I say thank you. Thank you for this time, this space, and this place. It is so good to know that we know that we know. We place these words directly into the law of mind, where they are activated and moved in such a way the so-called miracle happens naturally. So I let go and I let God be God as us, for God is us. As together we say, and so it is. Amen. Thank you.